Hi, my name is Mohamed Aden. My story.
Welcome to Baggage Unclaimed. For starters, where in East Africa have you had to say, this is my home?
The place I feel like most connected to, most at home at, is a small county in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. Even though I don't like it sometimes it's a bit too much. It's the most loud. People are everywhere and they're shouting and it just feels so much at home because I can hear my mother tongue, Somali, and I could also hear people just living life. And I used to live there for 7 years of my life, so obviously it's where I grew up. I love it so much, and that's where I consider home in the sense of I can find community there very easily.
When you talk about being Somali and what that looks like in Nairobi specifically, what does that mean to you? Because not everyone in Nairobi is obviously Somali.
Yes.
So what does that mean to you?
The Somali community is a very interesting community. We have a bunch of diaspora all over the world. When I was in France, I went to Norway for a weekend, and I found a bunch of Somali people just randomly walking the streets of Oslo. I was like, what's going on here? And I sat down at a random restaurant after an hour of trying to find food, and I sit down, and where I'm supposed to sit is a child's jacket there. So I move it to go give it to the child, and I look at the child and I go, this child might be Somali. So I go, oh hi, and then I see the mother and I say Salam alaikum, meaning greeting, which is just Islamic greeting. And then she says Salam alaikum, and I go, are you Somali? In Somali? She goes, yes, I'm Somali. And then we had a 1 hour conversation from just the fact that, are you Somali?
That's
and
so cool.
It was really wonderful. And then I came to find out she's from my tribe. She comes from the same city as me in Somalia.
That's
my
crazy.
It was
all the way in Norway.
Yeah, all the way in Norway. And I was like, wow. And I was like, I traveled for the past 3 months and I've only seen a couple of Somalis. And she goes, really? She goes, look out the window. I look out the window. There's random Somali children walking around. And I was like, wow. I guess to be Somali is to always know that you have a community everywhere and a country to go back to someday. And so that's my definition.
I love that. So obviously now we're traveling. We're in Istanbul, for those who don't know. Welcome to Istanbul.
Beautiful city.
We were trying to catch a bus to see another part of the city, but it didn't work. And the best kebab shop on earth, the kebab.
You should plug the kebab.
I'm going to. It's amazing. But okay, so you were living in Ohio for a little.
Yeah.
Where's your family now?
When we started Baret, my family is in Kenya. I had flown from Kenya to Ohio, then Ohio to New Hampshire. My dad was in Ohio, but September 23rd, I think, my whole family shifted and they moved to Ohio, right in the old city that I used to live in, small city called Hilliard, Ohio. And yeah, so they're all there right now. Over the break, I went there. They had winter storms. It's crazy. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to be here anymore after 20 days. But yeah, so my whole family's there. I don't particularly consider Ohio my home, my place. I don't think I want to live there actually. But it's a place I grew up. I don't have any friends or people who are
Communities.
for my family. But I like the place. It's very nice. A lot of Somali people
Really?
a lot of Somali people. Third or second most Somali people in America or in Ohio.
Did you guys move there for that reason, or your dad just kind of worked there and that was...
Culturally, we're very I don't know, is it called homogenous? We like to stick close to our people. English is not my first language.
No.
So yeah, culturally we like to live near our people. Yeah, Somali people speak Somali, so it just feels at home, more at home than other places. So if you look in the US, Minnesota has a lot of Somali people. A lot of Somali people, when they first move to the US, they go to Minnesota, or they go to Washington, or they go to Portland, Oregon, and Ohio, because there's we know at the end of the day we'll find a Somali restaurant or a Somali store that sells the things we used to buy at home and stuff like that. So we like to live close.
Yeah.
My dad, first when he moved to the US, he lived in different cities, but then he settled in Ohio, and he was like, I'm never moving. And there we are.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
So now, obviously, when you're traveling, I feel I don't know, in Baret in general, there's a conversation of identity. I personally never really thought about it until coming to Baret that much. Because when you're surrounded by so many different people that are either discovering their identity or they're very this is my identity and I want to share with the world. So I guess obviously having those two very opposite, I guess a very Western perspective, and then having an East African perspective, and how that kind of can collide in different ways. How you're working on your Period Poverty Project. If you want, I would love to hear about that and what that looks like with those two different, like vastly different perspectives, yet so similar.
Yeah, identity is a very good reflection. It's taken me a long period of my life to figure out what my identity is and like what I want to do to the world and like what I want to leave as a legacy. And like I want to do a bunch of things. I want to like fix my country Somalia. I want to help my country Kenya. I want to help my East African brothers and sisters. So like, but like at a certain point in time, I didn't know this. I didn't like really care much about this. Predominantly when I lived in the US, I didn't really care about social issues. It wasn't like my problem to deal with. And then I went back to Kenya to live there because my family was like, you need to be close to our culture. And for 4 or 5 years, I lived in Kenya and I got to see things that like flipped my perception of who I am. I know I'm Kenyan and I know I'm Somali, but a big part of me used to think that I'm more American than any person, which I hinted at. Like I grew up in America for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know why I stuck to the identity so much. I was like, this is me, this is religion. So when I went back to Kenya, I went to school there, and my school, shout out, the Nairobi Academy, it's a very good place to like go to school because we used to do projects everywhere. And me and my 2 friends one day decided we'll join a business competition and do like see where we get. Then we were coming up with ideas of what to do. Then a few weeks later, I was going to Kilimanjaro, and before you go to Kilimanjaro, because we were doing something called the Presidential Award, we had to go volunteer at a place that we like wanted to volunteer at. So we went to this girls' school in like a rural part in Kenya to go help them like farming and stuff. Nothing to do with period poverty at this point. And then on the second day, I talked to like a few of the girls that are like talking to me about their struggles and like the problems with growing up in the place they came from. And the one that they talk about the most is the period poverty and the fact that sometimes they would miss school because they can't afford sanitary products. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like, but at the same time, it didn't hit home, you know? I didn't know how big it was. Then I went home like a week later and I was like, this is what happened, yada yada. And she goes, oh, you talk, like the girls were telling you about period poverty. I go, yeah. She goes, that's the issue.
It's really close to home.
Yes, that's when it hit home. I'm like, holy shit. Sorry.
No.
I cuss a lot. I'm like an Irish sailor. I was like, wow, if this is such a big issue, why has no one done anything about it? Then I found out that people are trying to do something about it, but it's still not enough. So I was like, why don't I be the first one to end period poverty? So my goal in life is before 2075, period poverty should end. That's my
Mark your words. Now we're like, it's a thing.
Yeah, so I really genuinely hope I can make a significant impact because 65% of women in Kenya can't afford sanitary products. 500 billion women in the world can't afford sanitary products on a monthly-to-monthly basis. When I say 500 million, you think, oh, that's like a small portion. Only 2 billion women in the world menstruate, so 25% can't afford sanitary products.
Crazy.
1 in 4 women in the world. You think, what the fuck? The other day I was reading a New York Times article that said, and this is like the exact thing I'm gonna title it when I like talk about it in my document, the shame that keeps millions of girls in Africa away from school. My identity in this sense, like it shifted a lot during this time because I came to realize that I am more African than American because I'm black. I am also Somali, I speak Somali, I speak Swahili. And my people, the people who I come from, the communities I live in, suffer from these issues. So I identify more as East African than American now. So yeah.
Do you think like when in the conversation of period poverty, what if you can share, what are you doing about it? If you can share.
Yeah, I love it. So we call it bambooties. It's a sanitary product for women, panties made from bamboo. So it's reusable, better for the environment. It's also like over time cheaper. So we want to sell it to middle and upper class women and then take a big portion of our profit and then give it to like women who can't afford sanitary products, like in form of like the product itself and donate it to them, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. And like we want to like every year we want to impact more and more women in Africa and in Kenya. First year we want to impact 10,000 women. Next year 20,000. And we want to focus on girls women in Kenya are empowered to the same level as men. I want to impact younger girls as they grow up so that they can attend school and go to university easier, so that later in life they can impact their own community directly. But also women who are working and women who can't afford it there and that. We want to change their lives as much as possible so that they can have the same level of like education as the boys in Kenya. I'm gonna do a documentary in Kenya to make it like more aware and publicly known, and then we go from there.
In terms of your journey with Baret, if there's one thing that you're, I guess, getting out of it, if you could bring it down to like one sentence or a couple words, what have you gained so far from Baret?
That's a really, really good question.
It could be very broad, or it could be something very specific oriented towards you or the community itself or whatever that looks like.
I've learned to love taking risks. I have learned to love taking risks with Baret. Baret was a risk for me. It was just a leap of faith. I didn't, honestly, while getting on that bus in New Hampshire, I think maybe I'm gonna get robbed at the end of this bus ride, dude. Especially when we're going through these small forests, I was like, I don't know who I'm gonna meet. I met genuinely beautiful people, like soul and mind, all over the world. I have loved the fact that I've taken this risk. I changed what I wanted to do in university. I deferred from Penn State, then I canceled my deferment. So now I'm not going to go to Penn State anymore because I don't know if I want to study pre-med straight or if I want to go to like biochemistry and later go to something else. So I've been taking risks. And actually, Elena asked me earlier, what are you going to go for as a trip over the weekend? I looked at her and I go, maybe Budapest? Like, I don't know. Maybe Cappadocia, who knows? It's like, I was just looking at Skyscanner and I go, I could just go. I could just go see something new, you know? It's a risk, small risk, but like, why not?
Nothing's holding you back.
Nothing is holding you back. And before it used to be like, is this good for my future? Is this like gonna impact me in this way or whatever? But now I'm like, does this make me happy now? So take the risk now, you know?
I love that.
I've learned to love taking risks.
Where, in looking into the future, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? If you could see Mohamed in 10 years, where would Mohamed be? What would Mohamed be doing? Hopefully ending period poverty, maybe? Starting to?
29, maybe 30 years old.
Yeah.
I want to have a family, hopefully, if anyone will take me. I want to have built a community around me, people who I could call and like be my
Like support.
But also, I want to have started to leave a print on the earth. You know, have you seen the?
Sorry, no Turkish.
Oh, like money.
I don't
have.
We don't have any lira on us.
I don't have. I do.
I don't have any.
Stories.
Guys.
Okay. Rule in life: if a child or an old lady asks me for money, or a woman carrying a child, always give them. That's my rule in life.
Also, I like remember this so vividly. It was the first week I met you in New York, and we were walking down the street. Growing up in the U.S., you see someone ask for money most of the time, you just walk away. And I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's very sad to say. But one of the first times I met you, and it truly impacted me. Ever since, I always help anyone that wants food. I will always buy food if I'm able to. We were sitting at this corner store, and this man was outside, and he wanted food. And I was like, no, I don't have any money, which I did, but I did not want to buy him food. You went, and we both split the meal. We ended up buying the man food. This was in New York, in Brooklyn, and the corner. And genuinely, it's ingrained in my brain because you changed the way I now look at people that are unhoused and on the streets, and if they're hungry, if you're able to feed them.
That's also because of my childhood. A big part of it is because I come from a very, very underdeveloped part of Kenya called Wazir. I lived some part of my life really close to a refugee camp, if not in the refugee camp. I don't know, like the parameters for a refugee camp. Like this is when my family had nothing. My parents are nomads. My mom used to herd camels and cows, which is really cool.
That's so cool.
Which is the story of its own, because I have like so many stories about that. I used to think it can't be that hard. And then one day she told me, we went to my uncle's who herd camels and cows. So she was like, go with them for like a day. One of the hardest experiences of my life. I just walked with them for a bit and it was like really hard. When I went back to Kenya from the US, translation of money is very different. $1 is like 100 shillings. When you convert US dollars, you think you have more money. So So when we first went to Kenya, I used to be walking by the street and I would give money to people randomly, like when they would ask immediately, because a lot of people ask for money in Kenya. And so my mom used to ask, are you gonna feed the world? She used to ask her, are you gonna feed the world? And I was like, I would like to if I could. But then I also get this from my mother. My dad used to send money to Kenya for the family. Like she would have to go get the money from like the bank, yeah? She'd get like money. And always, she'd give like $20 is a lot of money in Kenya. She'd get $20, make it into like small currency, and then as soon as she comes out of the bank, because there's like people on the street, she'd give it to them one by one. My mom is like the epitome of kindness on earth. And so when I have money, why not? I don't like giving money to people often because I think buy them food or buy them something that they can use, because I don't know if the money is going to be used for drugs and stuff, sadly. So right now I had the money. 20 liras is not that much. I hope it helps her. But usually if I was on the street and someone asked, I would buy them food, eat them for the day. They go on about their day.
I think it's a good message for the world. If you're able to do something and help people, honestly, why not help?
You don't know. That could genuinely impact their day. If you could make someone happy for a day, why not?
True. I love that. On that note, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Wait, I'm going to come in. We changed the formatting.
Yeah. Kebab is right here.
What's it?
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
This place is so bomb. Actually, the best people in the world.
And
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna
really
go.
good, so why not? This is their chairs. Come here, eat food in Istanbul. They're really nice, so why not?
Best food in the world. See you.